Hey everyone, welcome back to the RPGames YouTube channel. My name is Ralph, this is Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I'm really sorry that I had to cut this epic battle for the defense of the Defender's Heart Tavern. I was doing this on the turn-based mode and I had absolutely no idea how long this was gonna take. As you can see, there is so many people involved in this battle. I just had to cut the video. Then, of course, I noticed I cannot save the game while I'm in combat. So what I decided to do is keep recording, and then now I'm just making a summary. I'm just commenting over whatever it was that I recorded. So let's give you some of the highlights of this battle. Now, as you know, the cultists are coming from all directions except for the direction of the tavern itself. In front of the tavern, there's a whole bunch of soldiers led by Erebet. Don't expect them to do anything. They're not moving from their location, okay? If at some point a fighter or someone happens to get close, they will either shoot it or they will go into melee, but they will not move. So this whole territory in front of the tavern, that's all you. It's the party. So what I decided to do at a certain point was to just leave Sela in the gate on her own. I had to pull back the rest of the party because more and more of these arsonist cultists started showing up on different sides and started throwing their alchemist fire. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about this, at least this is a normal difficulty. If you play higher difficulty, this might be different, but I only lost 1 point of the tavern defenses. So the tavern can take a good amount of damage, they can take a good amount of these alchemist fires. However, you should really focus on getting rid of these arsonists as soon as possible. So what I decided to do was place my archers, Ember and Lawn, somewhere in the middle, and then just try and walk a bit closer if these arsonists showed up and then take them down. At the start of the combat, it will be mainly fighters running in. Then there's gonna be cultists. Then the arsonists start showing up. Then there's demons. So Dredge and other demons will start showing up as well. And you kind of need to handle everything. The cultists will go after the NPC archers first, the ones they can reach at least. So they will go down, as you could see in the previous episode. They go down really quickly. So then it's the party that needs to take care of everything else. Then somewhere around the 20th round of combat, all of a sudden this happens. Yep, you saw that correctly. A frikking Minotaur bashes down the gate at the other side of the tavern. And then a number of drudge start swarming in. And some more arsonists. So then, of course, I had to divert all my forces. Pretty much everyone except for Sela, who was defending the gate on her own on the other side. And I had to try and take down this Minotaur. Now, when it comes to Sela, or whoever you're gonna place in that gate to fend off the attackers, make sure you got a tank and make sure that you have plenty of health potions. I don't know how this battle plays out in real time if you don't do the turn-based mode. I'm guessing it's gonna be a lot more challenging. However, on turn-based mode, I felt it was quite doable. For Sela, at least, I could just drink a potion and then hit someone in the same turn, so that went quite well. And even if she was surrounded by 4 or 5 fighters at some points, due to her high armor class, it wasn't really a big issue. I left Ember near her for some support, Lan at some points as well. When it really got, like when she was really surrounded by a lot. But the moment this Minotaur hit, well, I mean, you know, gotta take care of stuff, right? What I decided to do with Woljif is cast grease in front of it. And this was actually a really good idea, to be honest. First of all, one of the dredge fell down immediately, so that's great. I could take out the other dredge as well. And then the Minotaur advanced and he goes down. That was major. So then I could actually move in with Woljif and with Camellia and do a coup de grace on the Minotaur, which did some really great critical hits. In the end, the Minotaur does get back up, but by then it had taken a lot of damage already. And I was able to finish him off with Woljif with another critical hit. Of course, as you can see, make sure that you don't run into the grease yourself, because Cauldar also went face down. Of course, he had to try it. He thought he was nimble enough, but alas, he went down. And in the end, a few turns after the Minotaur went down, I think this was turn 27 or 28, something like that. The game finally feels that I did enough and it granted me the well-deserved victory. Victory! Canabra's bites back and her teeth are sharp. Erebet is glowing with zeal. She raises her fists in triumph. Now we take the fight to them. Congratulations on the victory. It would have been possible without you. That reminds me, we found this among the attacker's remains. This trophy rightly belongs to you. Nicely done. Now our goal is to rout the demons in the Grey Garrison just like we did here. Well, that was a pretty epic battle. As I shrink back to normal size. Let's see if some of the others here have something to say. Anevia in her muted colors blends almost perfectly into the background. She appears relaxed, but her seemingly unfocused eyes are taking in everything around her, tracking, filtering potential threats. The only tell is the way she drums her fingers on her hip near her weapon sheath. She knows no sign of her injuries and confidently leans on her previously broken leg. She pretends to have just noticed you, even though she watched you approach from afar. Oh, hey, see how they patched me up? Now I can run, jump, or dance a jig if I feel like it. Are there any suspicious places in the city that I should pay attention to? There were a couple of spots I wanted to check out, but I didn't have time. If there really is a den of cultists there, would be good if you could swoop in there and bust some heads. Don't even need a search warrant. First one is the Silken Thread. It's a funny little tailor shop that doesn't take any orders and never buys any fabric. They always seemed oh so busy. Busy with something in there, alright, but sewing ain't. Second one is the alchemy shop, Topaz Solutions. They trade in everything, not just healing potions. Judging by the ingredients they've been buying on the black market, there's something fishy about alchemical rituals going down in that place. What's your responsibility in the Eagle Watch, Anevia? Nothing official, not even a knight, you know. I just hang around. You sure you want to know the details? I occasionally bang the commander. Catching traitors and spies and cultists is no walk in the park. It's a delicate job. Can't always do it with the letter of the law. What if we surprise some suspicious blighter with an official search? Everyone will know about it before long, starting with our cronies. Then again, sneaking into people's houses at night ain't exactly legal. Crusaders can't be doing stuff like that, can they? Well, not exactly a knight. Tell me a bit about yourself. I'd be happy to, but there's kinda nothing to tell. What's so interesting about me? Where are you from? Nowhere. I was blown in by the wind and found a cabbage patch. Sorry, it's an old habit of mine. I don't like blabbing about my past, but you saved my skin, so I guess I kinda owe it to you not to clown around, right? Yeah, that's right, Anevia. I demand answers. I'm from Nidal, and I wouldn't wish my homeland on my worst enemy. You've heard of the place, I'm sure. Ruled by monsters that aren't alive nor dead. Official religion is the cult of Zon Catan. I grew up in a slum, like a weed, between the cobblestones. Didn't have a dad. I had lots of aunts and uncles. My mom's cronies. No prize for guessing the kind of business she was involved in. She gave me a set of lockpicks as soon as I could hold a spoon. While other kids were picking their noses, I was picking pockets. Well, we have that in common, Anevia. I also grew up a pickpocket. You see? Doubters and haters? You see how much this comes up? This backstory of mine? When I was 12, the monks of the Silent Shroud came for us. Creepy guys with their mouths sewn shut. They're the guards in Nisrock. Mom gave me to her friends and we hid in the secret temple of Desna. Never saw my mom again. I lay low in the temple for the next few years, kept my head down, washed floors, fetched water, listened to the sermons. Funny thing, after a while I started liking Desna's teachings. But as soon as I was old enough, I was out of there. I left Nidal, got as far away as I could. Nidal is one of the oldest surviving countries in Avistan, having been founded during the uncounted years of the Age of Darkness. Even though it's now beholden to the neighboring infernal realm of Kaliax, it retains significant autonomy to pursue its own shadowy goals. Quite a ragtag group you got here, from nobles to street thieves. You got that right, huh? Only the best for you. What do you do if the knights and nobles fail to save the world? The lowlives are our only hope. How did you meet Urabet? I was bumming around Timon a while back, doing this and that. Desnan temples sometimes gave me odd jobs. You know, sometimes they needed people with skills like mine. On the surface it was fine, I guess. After Nidal, freedom of river kingdoms should have seemed like heaven. My chance to sit back and enjoy life. But I wasn't happy. There just wasn't any joy in my new life. I was all alone, no one cared about me. I didn't care about anybody either. I struggled to find a reason to drag myself out of bed every morning. Tying a stone around my neck and jumping into the nearest river started to look pretty appealing. Then one day I was hired to follow some fella who the local authorities suspected were Rasmussen spies. I was stupid, made a rookie mistake, they caught me. It's like my body had already decided to do what my mind had been fighting. It finally put me out of my misery. Get someone else to kill me since I didn't have the guts to do it myself. They grabbed me. I thought they'd gut me on the spot, but instead they hogtied me, dragged me off. Just like an animal going to slaughter. My only thought was, let's get this over with. They brought me to their stinking cave, threw me on their altar, and I realized who it was. Goodtides from Nidal. They tracked me down after all those years. I didn't care anymore. I wouldn't even have cared if they'd eaten me or whatever. We all gotta go sometime, right? So I was lying there staring at those knives pointed at me when fate rolled the dice, and I hit the jackpot. Urabet. There she was, storming into the cave. Picture it, I'm lying on an altar with all these knife-wielding maniacs around me. Suddenly Urabet storms in. Thought it was Iomedae herself. Fierce in her shining armor with her gleaming sword raised. She made quick work of those scumbags, chopped them up just like that. Didn't even have time to blink. She untied me and then, she looked through the papers they had on the table. She started swearing like a sailor. So much for Iomedae. So how did the two of you end up in Canabras? After almost becoming a human sacrifice, I knew I never wanted to leave Urabet's side. Desna knows. I fell for her instantly. And I fell hard. My misery was gone, and when Urabet showed me what was in those papers, proof that the cultists had a nest in their home city, well, I offered to help, without a second thought. She must have figured I couldn't wait to get my revenge on the cultists. But I didn't give a damn about them, it was her. I'd go anywhere with her, even on a crusade, or into the jaws of a dragon. I took to life in Canabras like a duck to water. I used to be an outcast, wherever I went. Half of the crusaders are the same, after all. Who'd volunteer to tangle with demons on the edge of the abyss? You gotta be either a goody two-shoes with too much honor and free time, or a misfit with no life out in the normal world, with normal people. People come here to run away from their debts, their past, from themselves. So I fit right in. What's it like living with Erebet? It's like living. Without her, I wouldn't be. Seriously. If I were alone, definitely be gone by now. Sure, sometimes we argue, can't deny that, but sometimes we bang our fists on the table, yell so loud that the walls shake. Well, that's about order business, but at home, well, I'll give you an example. Kinda always wanted to move out of that broom closet we call a house, into somewhere cozier. It ain't like they take a vow of poverty at the Eagle Watch. But every month, somehow, most of our spare money is spent on Crusader business. Sure, I get mad about it, but part of why I love her so much. You know, Erebet has that thing that matters most for a person, a purpose in life. She's always got a reason for whatever she's doing. Her whole life is a crusade, and I just drifted around like a leaf in the wind, till Desna brought us together. Now she's the meaning of my life, so it really makes no difference if we live in a mansion or under a bush. Okay, so we got to know Anevia a little bit. Let's see, Sela. We have already spoken to Sela. Here is someone I don't know yet. A tall, athletic man greets you. His hair is prematurely grey and shorn close to his head in a military style. He is lean and well-groomed, and a monocle twinkles coldly in his eye. The bold set of his jaw and his large but agile frame attest that there is a man who always ready to be in a move. Greetings, I'm Helor, venture captain of the Pathfinder Society. Oh, okay, he's like an Oriel 8 Eyes, I guess, where you can retrain characters. I'm the superior officer among Pathfinders in this region of Mendev. However, the Society is running almost no operations here right now. Besides me, there's almost no Pathfinders here. Actually, I'm only stuck here because of an old feud with a demon worshipper known as the Spinner of Nightmares. I had to work alone without the support of the Society. But I've made a lot of acquaintances among the local mercenaries and daring fighters. If you need any good fighters for an honest cause, talk to me. Tell me about that confrontation with the Spinner of Nightmares. It all began with a task for the Pathfinder Society. I arrived in Neresian with my team to investigate the sudden death of a famous crusader, Baron Falron. We soon focused in on a small hospital for the wealthy, where Falron was being treated shortly before his death. It turned out that a gang of Baphomet cultists, calling themselves the Labyrinth of the Mind, had gotten a foothold at the hospital. They were obsessed with twisting the minds of their victims and targeted fragile people too weak to resist. The hospital was filled with perfect victims, isolated for weeks from the outside world, completely helpless. And when they returned, they were different. Almost normal. The moment they heard a certain phrase, something dark awoke in their mind, and they transformed into servants of Baphomet, ready to lie, betray, and even kill. Labyrinth of Mind was preparing to infiltrate all the elite circles in Mendev. But Baron Falron stopped them. This is like the Born identity, but then in Galarian. He was too loyal to his oath and too resistant to their spells. He fought for his freedom until the strain broke his heart. We opened and cleaned the city of Baphomet's pit of vipers. Their den was a cradle of sin and filth. They cast spells on each other. Their loathsome fantasies stepped real from their minds into the world. They dreamt of horrible, forbidden things, and they fought like mad. We burned the place to the ground, slaughtered everyone we could. The leaders of the cult were able to flee, and they were set upon revenge. They abducted my daughter, Laurie, who served under my command in the Pathfinder Society, left me a note full of tart insults, mockery, and sneers. From that note I learned the name of my enemy, Spinner of Nightmares. A few months later I confirmed that she was the leader of the Labyrinth of Mind. My hunt had begun. I would get Laurie back at any cost. Tell me more about yourself. What exactly are you interested in? I'm a common Pathfinder. There are many others like me. Fate and my orders brought me to this land. How did you end up here? Fate and my orders brought me to this land. I was working on an assignment for the Pathfinder Society, and then a demon worshipper named the Spinner of Nightmares abducted my daughter Lori. For the past 3 years, I've been trying to save her. During this time, I've become a specialist in scouting demon territory. I've even planted agents among the cultists. Truth be told, in pursuing the Spinner of Nightmares, I've been acting more on behalf of Queen Galfrey than the Pathfinder Society. It's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you the rest of it sometime. Okay, so this Lori could also maybe be the one, like the ally who was causing the dreams of the Desna Clerics. Although I still suspect Minago to be responsible for those. Spinner of Nightmares is a true spawn of the Abyss. I've fought her many times, but I've never been able to seize her by the throat. Tell me about your daughter. As a girl, Lori was just an angel. We lost her mother early on. She was left to follow my example, a drifter with little idea how to talk to a 10-year-old girl. But even with such questionable parenting, Lori managed to grow into a wonderful girl. Brave, smart, beautiful, entirely unbearable. She's always argued with me about everything. When Lori was 18, told me she was going to be a Pathfinder, all I said was, alright. I knew there was no use to try and talk her out of it. She was a fine Pathfinder. I'll never forgive the Spinner of Nightmares for taking my girl from me. What about that Pathfinder Society? It's a global organization that unites opportunists and adventurers of all kinds. We explore the world and uncover its secrets, travel, sometimes face down threats. In times of trouble, the latter becomes our primary focus. Why is it then that there is so little activity of the Pathfinder Society going on in Mendev, where there is a rift to the Abyss? We're driven by curiosity and the desire to make the world a better place, and of course, some seek profit or hunger for glory. But in any case, it's hard work. It might send you anywhere on a mission. Weaklings have little place in the society. It's more for seasoned fighters. There are society lodges in many cities. The closest one is in Nerosian. They're each led by a venture captain, lads like me. The Grand Lodge is in Absalom, the center of the world. The Decemvirate sits there, the anonymous council of our leaders. Okay, so here you can hire a mercenary, which I don't need, I already have a full party. And here we need good training, so you can kind of rebuild a character if you want to. Which I don't. Let's take a quick look around because we have one new party member here, which is our lordship. The Defender's Heart is a splendid choice for the Crusade outpost. The very sight of these walls brings back fond memories of drinks and revels. The drinks were really good, by the way. May I ask you a few personal questions? You can try. I heard stories about a tragedy that befell your family. Yeah, that's a good opener. I hope you don't feel obliged to offer me your insincere condolences on this unfortunate occasion. My whole family, my entire noble line, they all died. And demons are to blame. It's not like I actually loved any of my relatives, except for my mother, but what's gone is gone. Family crypts are full of corpses, all covered in dust and shadows of the past. What do you cherish most in life? What is this, like a dating, speed dating? There are far too many things that I cherish to fit them all into a single conversation. Believe it or not, but I might be one of the most life-loving people you've ever known. Daeran smiles. His eyes are gleaming with something different from his usual impudence and irony. There's a dreamy air about him all of a sudden. Rarely meet anyone who embraces the joys of living as enthusiastically as myself. There are so many exciting, beautiful things in the world that should be illegal to waste your time on anything you do not enjoy. Actually, this is a great life lesson for all you viewers. Like, take this literally. I know this is just a game, but do this in real life. Like, there's just too much great things to do than just, do something that you're not enjoying. So, there we go. Life lesson number 1 from Ralph. I'm not afraid to repeat that to anyone's face. Should it be the scary, and his demonic herd, or Iomedae, the Lightbringer herself? What do you hate the most? The feeling of helplessness, the lack of control over my own life. And onion rings, of course. I'd murder the person who came up with those abominations. You don't seem especially keen on helping people, but your knowledge of healing is truly impressive. What prompted your interest in that? How do we know about that, actually? If you really want to try out everything life has to offer, you also have to understand how to deal with the consequences. And I'm not talking about simple hangover, mind you. You have some good stories about your past exploits? I've got plenty, but I have to warn you that even the most outrageous debauchery sounds far less thrilling when you were not the one doing the debauching. Still, since you asked, I suppose the worst mess I've ever gotten myself into was when I staged my own kidnapping. I was once in correspondence with one of the Riverland nobles, the young Lord Libeda. He told me about his days as a hostage to a group of bandits. That made me wonder what it would be like. I thought it might be fun to set up a little experiment. I engineered my own kidnapping by a certain gang through a chain of intermediaries and hired actors. Those fellows took the job very seriously. Caught me by surprise, killed my 2 bodyguards, even tied me up. Of course, the whole thing seems preposterous now, but it seemed like an ingenious idea at the time. The employers had told the kidnappers that they were to keep me safe and sound. Another group of mercenaries in disguise was watching the spectacle from afar, ready to interfere in case anything went wrong. Turned out to be a terrible idea nonetheless. It wasn't the least bit fun or exciting. Sure, those bandits had been unable to torture or hurt me physically in any way, but they had plenty of other non-invasive methods of humiliating in their arsenal. Taking almost all your clothes off and splashing ice-cold water all over you, for example. Can't even remember if I said anything truly offensive to provoke them. Even though I initially planned to let them go after a ransom, the overly emotional reactions made me change my mind. Told my mercenaries to hang them on the spot. Suppose the whole ordeal taught me a valuable lesson, which is that I'm not built for hardship and trials. Wait, you just told me that a couple of bodyguards died during the staged kidnapping? Does that mean 2 innocent people lost their lives so that you could have a little bit of fun? Oh, spare me. It irks me beyond all measure when I hear about the suffering of innocents. Yes, the bodyguards died. Guarding nobles is a dangerous job. They were well aware of the risk. I don't really see a problem with that. Besides, they proved their incompetence. Should have stood no chance against real kidnappers. These mind games of yours will come back to bite you sooner or later. I hope not. I enjoy myself, I enjoy my life, and I'd like to keep this going for as long as possible. So that was a stupid story. Now I'll tell you a truly brilliant one. Prelate Hulrun always strictly prohibited any public celebrations in Canabras. He always picked on me for my lack of respect for the fallen and whatnot. His grumbling annoyed me so much that one day I drove 4 barges into the city harbour. Set up a celebration on their decks. The ships on the river didn't fall under the prelate's jurisdiction, you see, so all he could do was snarl at me from the embankment. I, for one, did not forget the old boy. The main attraction of the festivities involved an Inquisitor of Iomedae dancing and roasting beautiful witches on illusionary bonfires, taking off his clothes with every new victim. The spectacle was so heated in every sense of the word that the prelate almost had a stroke. Okay, so I know I'm lawful good, but that's just funny. Maybe Ralph is a little bit more chaotic than... yeah. Anyway, I still consider that one of my finest ideas of all times. Should the Crusaders ever succeed in their efforts against the World Wound, I will do my utmost to get permission to hold a grand public celebration. Rivers of wine free of charge. An obligatory parade and a carnival in the evening. Contest for the most provocative succubus costume with a hefty prize in gold. Another contest where the participants have to fish a sausage out of a wine jar blindfolded with their hands tied behind their backs. The wine will symbolize the blood of all the dead heroes of the war. And the sausage? Well, they'll find a heroic meaning for that as well. Over the years, the commemoration of the greatest victories of light over darkness will turn into an ordinary holiday. Find an excuse to get sloshed and rot like animals in the streets. Do you enjoy being mean to everyone? Yes. Here I thought you were hurling insults at people purely by accident. I like your way with words. What did you expect me to say if I wanted to make a good impression? Something along the lines of, I'm not mean, I'm just being honest with myself and everyone else. That's what people use as an excuse when they want to keep up their saccharine facade while still saying whatever nasty little thoughts spring to mind. It's not what I do. I have no hidden agenda, I'm just as much an insufferable prick as I seem to be. Some people are simply begging for a good dose of mockery, so who am I to deny them? I don't give a damn if anyone holds a grudge against me, which is why I don't even try to avoid it. I like to talk about life in Mendev and the Crusade, yeah. What's your opinion of Mendev today in general, oh Lord Daeran? It doesn't exist. It's a frontier country that has attracted every utopian adventurer and fanatic from all over the world for more than a century. It's a place where the strangers outnumber the locals, especially in the cemeteries. The population of Mendev for the most part consists of humans and other races not exactly known for their longevity, so the current generation of Mendavians were born in the shadows of the World Wound and raised by the Crusades. I might be the last person to complain about the decline of tradition and the lack of character in our country, but I also happen to come from one of Mendev's most ancient lineages. Its history is bred deep in my bones. My tutors told me stories about my heritage. Galleries, libraries, and even the interiors of the manors I grew up in were filled to the brim with memories of events long past. There are many heroes of old Mendev among my glorious ancestors, or at the very least patrons and contemporaries of such heroes. Does anyone actually remember them now? I don't think so. These days Mendev has its own heroes, shining armor with holy fire in their eyes. I myself remember how several streets that once celebrated my ancestors were renamed in honor of some crusader who had died in a heroic fashion. None of the citizens remember the old crossing festival that was eventually replaced by Armas. These holidays even share the same date. Pretty much the only authentic thing about Mendev now is its endless war with the demons. Is there a point in bemoaning this state of affairs? What's gone is gone. But at least we're no longer some tiny godforsaken northern kingdom. That's something, isn't it? You really don't like Crusaders, do you? Quite the opposite. When I think about how many devoted heroes are willing to protect this world against the demonic threat, I feel so inspired to continue indulging my vices while they fight to keep me safe. Imagine being someone like me, someone who has everything they can possibly desire: youth, beauty, wealth, an honest wish to live and enjoy living, but vanishing few ways to put it all to any use. The fact that the word fun itself is not yet outlawed in Mendev must be due to some bureaucratic oversight. You can celebrate your victory solemnly, you can wet your whistle after a challenging battle. What about real fun, joys, pleasures? Can't remember a single evening at court without someone chastening me for my banquets, my lovers, my mistresses, my luxuriant clothes, my everything. It would have been a lot easier to tolerate all those hypocrites if they took a break once in a while. Instead, there was a constant fuss about how I wasn't doing anything for the greater good, and how I only brought shame to my royal cousin. What do you think of our enemies? Do you mean the demons themselves, or their followers? The former deserve to be cleansed with heavenly fire for their unholy origin alone. The latter for their idiocy. I don't understand why a sane person would submit themselves to Discari or Cabriri. Alright, Lady Noticola almost seems like a bearable enough mistress, yet there are so many other cultists. They've tried to recruit me twice already, not even that old. First, a very pretty tiefling girl tried to seduce me, then they came with promises of Lord Baphomet's endless boons. Still wonder what exactly the old hornhead could offer that I don't already have. You know what I've been thinking? Every shopkeeper knows this trick, an enticing offer along the lines of 1 in every 100 buns from my bakery contains a silver coin. And of course a hired actress to make a memorable show of finding said coin in her sweet roll. There you have it. Hundreds of gullible fools storm the shop hoping to win a prize for themselves. Think the infamous Aurelia Vorlish was such an actress for the Lords of the Abyss. Petty Sarkorian witch who became the uncrowned queen of the Worldwound, waited upon hand and foot by demon lords. Only instead of visiting a bakery, gullible fools rushed to join the cultist. We have an army of unbelievably powerful supernatural invaders from another dimension hell-bent on destruction and domination. What do those fools do? They serve them willingly as pawns and lackeys, hoping against hope that someday their masters will notice them. You won't believe how delighted I am to be so vain and self-absorbed. These sins protect me against demonic temptation better than any virtue. Let's see. That's about it, I guess. Let's head on out. Now, is there a chance that this place is still covered with bodies that haven't been looted? Seriously? Like, really? Oh, did I just walk through the gate there? I'm sorry, game. Yeah, that was by mistake. Okay, let me walk through it again. There we go. Whoop, there is another one.
Let's move.
Okay, not too many actually. However, I am gonna. Oh wait. I can loot this maybe. Oh yes, I can. 1,000 gold pieces. Ka-ching! Thank you very much, cultists, for your contribution to the Cauldar, whatever we're gonna call it, fund. Let me actually sell all that stuff to Joran here, and then we'll get right back to traveling. But first, if you know who's who in the city, maybe you can tell me something about Count Arendae. I'll tell you, why not? Everyone knows the story, you see, but you could say that I'm the one who found it in a way. The Arendaes are a very wealthy and ancient line, and they hail from the outlying areas of Canabras. It's where the Arendae family seat is, along with their ancestral lands. In the past, if Mendev was ever feuding with Sarkoris, or some clan from there was causing trouble, the Count and Countess Arendae were the first ones who would defend the border with their soldiers. Their main residence was called Heaven's Edge. It still stands to this day north of here on the road towards Dresden. No one lives there now. Around 10 or so years ago, there was a grand celebration held at the estate. The mother and guardian of the current count invited the great and the good to celebrate his birthday. The entire Arendae clan was there, as well as many other nobles, and then, without warning, the demons struck. Clearly, they couldn't ignore such a perfect opportunity to cut down so many of Mendev's great dynasties in one fell swoop. There wasn't even a chance the queen herself would make an appearance, for she was related to the count as well. Well, when no news came from the estate, a troop of inquisitors was sent to investigate. They forced open the gates, discovered a manor full of corpses. They all perished. Servants, guards, guests, including some of Iomede's chosen clerics and paladins. The demons had unleashed a magical plague, terrifying and strange, the likes of which had never been seen. Among all of this was young Daeran Arendae, the only survivor. The Count had a talent for divine magic since his youth, healing magic in particular. That must be why he didn't die with the rest. He couldn't explain how he survived the disease. I saw that day. They brought him into the city, pale and barely conscious of his surroundings. So that's the story. Since then, Heaven's Edge had stood abandoned, sealed off to the outside world. People are still afraid to go near the place. Alright, so what I want to do in this episode is return to the Arendae Party House. Because I want to talk to Aranka, which is one of Desna's acolytes that went into hiding. I also took Daeran along instead of Camellia. Just want to see if he maybe had some kind of reaction to his mansion here. While there's a nude courtesan standing there. Don't worry, I'm not not distracted at all by this nice ass that's staring at me. The girl gives you a friendly wave. Greetings. The timing perhaps isn't great, but a little music to comfort and inspire the valiant defenders of Canabras is always a good idea. I'm a friend of Ilk's. He asked me to find you and protect you. The young woman clasps her hands together. Ilk's is alive. He's made a brilliant new friend. It's a shame it had to happen now, when the city is under siege by the demons. Those pig-headed inquisitors are pursuing us instead of doing something useful. How did you end up here? Halvran's hounds found me in Wallflower. They tried to capture us. I distracted them, but then I lost them in the streets before charming my way into this party. Even if the Inquisitors saw where I went, they wouldn't have been allowed past the door. Halvran holds no sway among certain members of the aristocracy, so I picked a good place to lie low. That is, until the demon showed up. Now that's more like it. So I've inadvertently been harboring a traitor wanted by Canavra's Inquisition? This day wasn't such a waste after all. You see, I knew it would be handy to bring him along. Do you know where the third of your group is? Wallflower? No idea. If he knows about the demon attack, he won't just hide away. He'll go out and try to help people. If he doesn't know, well, you have no chance of finding him. He's a pretty skilled mage, but I doubt he'll risk using magic. Probably do something the Inquisitors won't expect. Pose as someone, disguise himself. We had a great selection of masquerade costumes in the temple. I know! I'll tie my shawl around your arm. Wallflower gave it to me. He'll spot it right away and know you're a friend. If I were you, I'd look for him in Canabras Market Square. We just cannot get rid of this fricking market square, can we? There's still so much I need to do there. Tell me about yourself, Aranka. I'm Aranka, a traveling bard and a follower of Desna. Many of my fellow bards are ruthless misfits who wander the world, unwilling or unable to live a normal life. For me, it's only partially true. I have a wonderful family. My mother, father, grandmother, and brother. Right now, they're far away and I'm sure they miss me, but they've always supported me in my vocation. They let me be free to roam, because they knew I couldn't be happy while there was so much of the world I hadn't explored. So many places where people might need my help. Why did you decide to break into the Wardstone and cast magic on it? You put your lives at risk. Your information could have been a trap set by demons. But it wasn't a demon trap, Aranka says forcefully. Then her voice softens and her expression turns pensive. You know, living next to the World Wound and seeing the powerlessness of the Crusaders, it's very hard. We've been trying to defeat the demons for 100 years now, and we've nothing to show for it. I think that Queen Galfrey and the other leaders think that we can defeat evil if we line up our soldiers in perfect columns and send them marching off with a stirring battle cry. We just need a few more soldiers, a little more discipline. We've been marching for 100 years. It's always one step forward, two steps back. And while the soldiers are marching, people like Halvran are seizing power behind their backs. His fanaticism and cruelty were forged in the same furnace as the Crusaders' righteousness. We will never defeat the demons if we keep trying to march down the same path. We need to change tack, to challenge our principles, trust our hearts and our friends, and not moldering doctrines. We need to listen to any entity that is willing to help us. My friends and I listened. We trusted and we tried to change something. At least we tried, even though it didn't work out. Great idea, marching in straight lines won't work. Let's go attack the demons in a merry band of hopers and dreamers, brimming with enthusiasm and doing just whatever we feel like. When the demons see us coming, they'll die of hysterics and our victory will be complete. Naive children, that's what you are. But I admit your words stir something in my soul. Wouldn't put you in charge of a military campaign, but I'd be proud to fight alongside you. Can you get somewhere safe on your own? It looks like the Inquisitors aren't busting down the door just yet, and they're not hiding under the bed, so I think I'm safe for now. I'll be fine on my own. I'll go to our temple, to Ilk's. Inquisitors must have searched there by now. They won't go back a second time. Okay, so we found Aranka. That is something. We are gonna need to figure out a way to find this wallflower dude as well. But first, before... Actually, this is... Oh, do I really need to go to the market square again? So this is one of the spots where the cultists are possibly are located. A drab and barely readable sign hangs over this cramped place with unfriendly, brusque workers. Building was always crowded with people, but none of the neighbors can recall ever coming here to have so much as a button sewn back on. Let's go here. That will be the last thing in this episode. Let's go here to the Silken Thread Atelier, and then in the next episode I really want to go to the Blackwing Library. I really want to meet the storyteller. So... And I will probably head to the market square again to deal with some other stuff there. But now let's head to this Silken Thread Atelier. Of course it had to start raining.
I found something.
We found a trap. How about that? Where did that trap go to? Is he gonna run over it? Yeah, okay. We disabled that trap. That's how we do it. Is there actually... Is this the place we need to be? No, I don't think so. Ooh, we should have seen him.
Trouble? No, they did.
What's up, barbarian? These are two melee guys. That's not a big issue here.
Too late for apologies.
That was a miss, of course, as usual.
You won't survive me.
That one goes down.
Stab you or zap you? Why not both?
And that one goes down, great. And there is more, apparently. As Daeran steps forwards. Yep, there is an archer. Oh, it's a wizard, actually. That's alright. A little magic missile. It's not a big issue.
I'll hit you.
Look at Ember, like, jumping over that pole there. Very nice.
Endure this.
Oh. Thanks, Lon. You're awesome, Lon. We're looting, Lon. Thanks to you. Alright, so there is a door here
Let us be off.
into this atelier with another trap. Wait, there is a stranger standing here. The absence of an answer is an answer to... Oh yes, that's that strange fellow again that Ninio was such a big fan of. There's nothing here. We're gonna explore the outside first, as we usually do. Oh, this is pretty much it. Still haven't figured out those rotation controls. Probably in episode 80 I'll still be saying the exact same thing. Don't mind me, just trying to be a gaming YouTuber. Let's head in here. Who did we find? Some more barbarians. Okay, nothing Lon can't handle.
Make every strike.
Do not waver.
I mean, it's clear we're not gonna have a conversation with them, right? I guess that was clear. Let's move Cauldar up. Daeran, can you shoot this guy? You attempted to in any case. Who's this? Curville the Sparkling Fist. That is a cool name, I have to say. It's impressive. Amber, can you shoot him? You cannot for some reason. Okay, let's just move up then. That is fine. Alright, Woljif.
Distract them for me.
Oh, here is
You've crossed the wrong
another one of
road.
those summoning places again. Okay. That is not a huge problem, I think. Ooh, that was a miss. That was unfortunate. What do we need to hit? 17. Okay, we can do that. We can totally do that.
I will see to your demise.
That was a very small hit. Think it might be more beneficial.
The inheritor, guide my blade.
Might be more beneficial to cast spells
You
with
won't
Daeran.
stop us.
Although this is going quite well so far. Woljif.
Time to share your treasure.
Finishing time. That's right. That is right. We found... Can a mortal become a god? Is the very idea blasphemy? Science relies on experience where there may be evidence presented in support. Okay, I don't think this is something enormously interesting. Although he does have some magical items. A lesser kinetic diadem. Oh, that's for a kineticist, which we don't have. That's a pity. And unbending armor. Okay, well... Oh, are we gonna walk in here? Yes, we are. Of course we are. There is something back there as well. Well... It's not summoning anything.
Let's move.
And we have another box here. There's more regions in here. Nothing in here? Nope. Alright, that's a good place to put a cut in the video. As I mentioned, in the next episode I will try and locate the storyteller, and I noticed that near this location there was something else, probably some regions that I can pick up, so I will do that. And then we might end up at the market square again for the umpteenth episode. In any case, thanks a lot for watching. If you're enjoying the content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along. I'll see you in the next episode.